Welcome to today's explainer. Listen, I am absolutely thrilled you're here. If you're an 8th grader looking to completely level up your algebra skills, well, you're in the exact right place. Okay, let's just dive right in. Today, we're not just crunching numbers, we are solving a puzzle. We're going to master multi-step inequalities, and along the way, we're building up not just your algebra chops, but your personal endurance. Think of this whole lesson as a massive mental workout, one that takes focus, a bit of grit, and honestly, a whole lot of faith.
You know, it's kind of fascinating how perfectly Romans 12:11 applies to what we're about to do. It says, "Do not be slothful in zeal, be fervent in spirit, serve the Lord." Now, you might be wondering, what on earth does ancient scripture have to do with modern math? Literally everything. Solving inequalities, it requires exactly this kind of diligence. It demands that we pay super close attention to the details and tackle these challenges with a real fervent, enthusiastic spirit. We're not going to be lazy with our steps today. We are going to be sharp.
All right, here's our quick roadmap for the explainer. 1. Puzzles, rules, and perseverance. 2. Methods for solving inequalities. 3. The big negative twist. 4. Step-by-step practice examples. 5. Your homework challenge. And 6. Education, morality, and peace.
Starting right off with Section 1, Puzzles, Rules, and Perseverance. Okay, so the big idea here is that inequalities are basically just like the regular equations you already know and love, but they come with a thrilling little twist. They're like puzzles with shifting rules. Because, let's be real, in life, things rarely go in a perfectly straight line, right? There are always bumps in the road, weird turns, changing circumstances. Math is the exact same way. When the rules shift, we've got to stay alert. Solving these builds up your endurance. It reminds us to stay diligent, just like God asks us to, especially when the unexpected gets thrown our way. Moving on to Section 2, Methods for Solving Inequalities. So how do we actually solve these things? Well, you've got options. On the left side here, we have Method 1, which is inverse operations, and over on the right, we've got Method 2, which is transferring terms. I want you to feel totally empowered here. Both of these paths, completely valid ways to isolate your variable. You get to pick the method that just makes the most logical sense to your brain. Let's break them down real quick. Now, the cool thing about Method 1 is that it's exactly what you're already doing with regular equations. Step 1, use inverse operations. See addition, subtract. See multiplication, divide. Simple as that. Step 2, simplify both sides so the math stays clean and doesn't get overwhelming. And Step 3, isolate the variable. Get that x all by its lonesome on one side. You already have the skills to do this. But hey, if you prefer, check out Method 2, transferring terms. The concept here is that you're visually picking up a term and just tossing it across the inequality boundary to group similar things together. But wait, there is a massive rule here. You absolutely must change the sign once a term crosses that boundary line. Positive turns negative, negative turns positive. Once you've moved and grouped everything, you just simplify and solve. Which brings us to Section 3, the big negative twist. Okay, grab your highlighters, lean in, and enter the danger zone with me for a second. This is the ultimate rule breaker. It's the one thing that separates inequalities from standard equations. The twist: if you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, you must flip the inequality symbol. Say it was me in your head right now. Flip the sign. If it was less than, boom, it instantly becomes greater than. If it was greater than or equal to, it flips to less than or equal to. Actually, scratch that. If you forget this, the puzzle doesn't just fall apart, it completely explodes. This is where your super sharp attention to detail comes in. All right, Section 4, step-by-step practice examples. Let's actually put this into practice. We're going to start with a nice, easy 2-step warm-up. Look at the original problem. 3x minus 2 is less than 10. Goal: isolate x. Step 1, using our inverse operations, we add 2 to both sides. That wipes out the minus 2 on the left, and on the right, 10 plus 2 gives us 12. So now we're looking at 3x is less than 12. Step 2, let's undo that multiplication by dividing both sides by a positive 3. And since we're dividing by a positive number, that inequality sign, it stays exactly where it is. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Boom. Final answer. X is less than 4. Easy, right? Okay, now let's see the twist in the wild. Original problem, negative 2x is greater than 8. To get x by itself, we have to divide both sides by negative 2. Alarm bells should literally be ringing in your head right now. Step 1, divide by negative 2. 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. But look at that symbol. It started as greater than, and it flipped right over to less than. Why? Because of our golden rule. We divided by a negative number. So the answer is x is less than negative 4. Never forget, flip the sign. Let's level up to something slightly more complex. But I promise, if you take it step by step, it's a breeze. Here's the problem. 2x plus x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 9. Step 1 is just cleaning house. Combine your like terms on the left. 2x plus 1x gives us 3x. So our simplified equation is 3x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 9. And look at that, it looks just like our very first example now. Step 2, add 3 to both sides, giving us 3x is greater than or equal to 12. Step 3, divide both sides by positive 3. It's positive, so the sign stays put. Final answer, x is greater than or equal to 4. See? A solid step-by-step approach handles the complex stuff no problem.
Time for Section 5, your homework challenge.
You know the rules, you are totally equipped, so here's your practice board. I want you to work through these 5 problems on your own time. Remember your steps. Combine like terms, use inverse operations, and isolate that variable. But most importantly, keep your eyes peeled for those negative numbers. Looking at you, number 2 and number 4. When you multiply your divide by a negative, what are you going to do? Yep, flip the symbol. Take your time, show your work, and practice that diligent perseverance we talked about.
Finally, Section 6, education, morality, and peace. Before we officially wrap this explainer up, I want to zoom out for a second to something way bigger than math. At Smart Academy, there's a core philosophy. Education without morality will hurt. Think about it. You're learning incredible things right now. You're sharpening your brain, learning to solve complex puzzles. But intelligence, education, they're just tools. If they aren't paired with a strong moral compass, they can do some real damage. Education has to be intertwined with biblical morality because a brilliant mind without a good heart can end up making choices that hurt themselves and everybody around them.
And that brings us to a really beautiful promise in Romans 8:6-7. It promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their minds spiritual. That same gritty, diligent focus you just used to solve those math puzzles, you can apply that exact same focus to your spiritual discipline. When you fill your mind with positive, moral, spiritual truths, the result isn't chaos, it's a profound, lasting peace of mind. And for sure, that's what we want for you. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. What is the point of being smart and highly educated if you're just going to make bad choices that hurt people? Let your math skills be incredibly sharp, for sure, but let your moral choices be even sharper. Use your education, your perseverance, and your faith to make a deeply positive impact on the world. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep practicing those inequalities, remember to flip that sign, and I will catch you next time.